quietly heads off to get a coffee. After the workout, we see Sora and Amy sitting together. Amy starts wiping Sora's face, a gesture that doesn't go unnoticed by Momoko, who watches from a distance. Momoko feels uncomfortable seeing the close interaction between them, while Sora is taken aback by how much Amy seems to care for him. He's surprised by how she looks after even the smallest things for him, and ends up just watching her. The scene then shifts to Amy, where Kevin notices the two of them approaching. Intrigued, he recognizes Amy and stops her, asking if they could be friends. Amy, however, responds coldly, saying she doesn't want to make her life a business deal, as her parents might expect. Kevin tries to convince her, asking for a chance to get to know each other, and Amy, charmed by his looks and smooth words, eventually agrees. Meanwhile, Sora watches the exchange from a distance, feeling a pang of jealousy as he sees the two of them together. Afterward, as Sora is leaving, he bumps into Momoko on the way. Kieran notices them together. He becomes jealous and starts wondering if they have feelings for each other. This thought unsettles him, and feeling frustrated, he moves aside when Momoko says goodbye to Sora. As Momoko is leaving, she runs into Kevin, who is flirting as usual. He stops her and asks where she's from, commenting that she looks like an angel. Momoko, unimpressed by his words, rolls her eyes, finding his pickup line unamusing. As she tries to walk away, Kevin insists she can't ignore him and hands her his card, saying she can call him whenever she feels lonely. Momoko doesn't say anything and simply leaves. Meanwhile, Sora and Amy are outside, and Amy tells Sora that she's going to lunch with Kevin, so he should head home alone. Sora feels disappointed but doesn't try to stop her. Amy leaves with Kevin, and Sora is left feeling uneasy. Just then, Kieran approaches Sora and offers to drive him home, saying he wants to ask him something. As they drive, Kieran suddenly stops and asks if Sora is dating Momoko or if he likes her. Sora quickly denies it, but Kieran, relieved, then asks if he likes Amy. Sora hesitates but denies that as well. Kieran, still curious, leans in and asks if Sora likes him, jokingly wondering if he might be interested in boys. Sora quickly pulls back, insisting that it's not like that at all. Kieran laughs and says he's only interested in girls, explaining that he was just testing him. He then admits that there's nothing between Sora and Momoko, but he likes her and wants to date her. Kieran asks Sora to find out what she likes, and Sora agrees to help him. The scene shifts to the research lab, where a disturbing discovery is made. A scientist urgently reports to Mr. Soji about the dangerous effects of the medicine they had injected into Sora before he ran away. The news is alarming. If Sora continues using his powers, it could be fatal. The scientist stresses the need to bring Sora back to the lab immediately to fix the issue. Mr. Soji is told that without urgent action, Sora's life is at risk. While this conversation unfolds, Momoko, who is on the phone with Mr. Soji, overhears the critical information. She becomes deeply worried upon learning that Sora is in serious danger. If he isn't brought back to the lab soon, he could die. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Momoko feels the urgency and is determined to help Sora. Meanwhile, Amy and Kevin are together. Sora, growing increasingly anxious, continues calling Amy, which irritates her. She scolds him for disturbing her, and the call ends abruptly. Feeling unsettled, Sora places his phone on the charger and leaves his apartment, deciding to head to the convenience store for some food. At the store, Sora runs into Momoko again, who invites him to join her for noodles at a newly opened restaurant. Sora agrees, and the two sit down to eat together. During their conversation, Momoko asks Sora if he misses Japan, even though he has people there who care about him. Sora, with a hint of sadness in his voice, explains that he doesn't want to go back because his loved ones have already moved to Thailand. Momoko listens attentively, sensing the depth of his feelings. Sora then shifts the conversation and begins asking Momoko about her likes and dislikes. He recalls that Kieran had asked him to learn more about her preferences in hopes of impressing her. Momoko shares both the things she enjoys and the things she dislikes, while Sora listens carefully, taking mental notes for later. The scene transitions to the night when Sora returns home. He finds a letter from his mom, the same one he had previously discovered among the things sent by her. Sitting down, He begins reading it, and emotions overwhelm him. As he reads, he starts missing his mom deeply. Meanwhile, Kevin drops Amy off at her home. As they part ways, he takes her hand and says, "I hope you're starting to understand me a little better." Amy, unsure how to respond, replies, "Yes, as a friend, I like you very much," with a light laugh. She then bids him goodbye and walks away, but as she leaves, another girl, who is also leaving, stops her. Kevin, ever the flirt, begins his usual charm, quickly impressing the girl with his smooth words. Back with Amy, as she walks toward her apartment, the watchman stops her and informs her that the elderly woman who lived above her has passed away. He warns her to be cautious, suggesting that the woman's spirit might still linger in the building. Amy, who has been afraid of ghosts since childhood, becomes frightened by this news. At the same time, Sora, still feeling the weight of missing his mom, uses his powers to move a tissue box, inadvertently causing items around him to levitate. Amy, who happens to be near, sees the objects floating in the air and screams in fear. She immediately tells Sora that the place is haunted and insists that she's leaving. In a panic, she rushes to her room and begins packing her things, determined not to stay there any longer. Sora follows her, trying to calm her down. He reassures Amy, telling her that what she's seeing isn't what she thinks. He assures her that if there is indeed a ghost, he will protect her. Amy, still trembling, asks him, "Will you really protect me?" Sora wipes away her tears and confirms, "Yes, I will always protect you. You don't have to be afraid." Hearing this, Amy's fears begin to subside. She feels comforted by his words, as she has always wanted someone like Sora in her life, someone who would take care of her and protect her. Amy looks at Sora with newfound affection, and the scene ends with the two of them standing together.